This is Ethan, and I'm here with Dave, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 159-inch.
On this episode, we catch up with comic book creator and Weird Al superfan Jeff McClelland, all about a lumbering Weird Al project that he is working on.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Well, howdy everybody. Thank you all for listening, and welcome back to Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast with episode 159-inch.
We hope you enjoyed episode 158-inch, where we spoke with Dan Avidon and Brian Wecht of the comedy music band Ninja Sex Party.
Oh, that was so much fun getting to talk to those guys. So from all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, a big thank you to all of our listeners and all of our new listeners for making our episode with Ninja Sex Party so huge and pretty stinking majestic.
Well, Ethan, we've got a lot to get to this episode, so let's check out what's happening in Weird Al-related news.
Well, I have no doubt that you've heard by now, but Weird Al's 2022 The Unfortunate Return of the Ridiculously Self-Indulgent Ill-Advised Vanity Tour was temporarily put on pause last week for several shows.
Shortly after our previous episode dropped, Weird Al announced that he had tested positive for COVID-19. Weird Al went on to say that he is vaccinated and has had 2 booster shots, so his symptoms were very mild.
Now, this unfortunately resulted in the need to cancel his tour dates in Saginaw, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, Nashville, Indiana, and Springfield, Illinois.
And prior to those shows and the announcement, the photo portion of the VIP was canceled in Canton, Ohio, out of abundance of caution.
Now, last night's show in Milwaukee, Wisconsin was the first show back, but unfortunately, Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West also has tested positive for COVID-19, so he was playing the concert from backstage.
Well, hopefully some of our friends and listeners that attended will call in and let us know how that went.
We're very glad to hear everyone is doing okay and they're safe, and we're so happy that the tour is able to now progress as intended.
And while the current plan is for the 4 canceled shows to be rescheduled, no replacement dates have been announced at this time.
From all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, we want everyone to stay safe and healthy out there on the road.
Well, Ethan and I are heading back out on the road. Our next shows will be this coming weekend in Tennessee, where we will be hitting both shows at the Caverns in Pelham and the show at the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville.
And following those 3 shows, Dave will be heading out to Denver, Colorado, attending both of those shows, and then the 2 of us will meet back up again and hit all 3 of the shows in Las Vegas together.
So please let us know if any of you will be at any of these shows. We would love to say hello.
Well, there's some very exciting Weird the Al Yankovic story news this week, because Weird Al shared an update simply saying, quote, "Picture is locked," end quote.
Oh, that is so pretty stinking majestic. But what does that mean?
Well, locked means they are done editing.
Oh, how cool. So we can expect to see the film like any day now?
Well, not quite. I was asking our friend UH Jeff, and he said locked means they probably still have to do some mixing and onlining, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff.
Sheesh! That sounds really complicated. And here, I thought it was as easy as just showing up in Los Angeles one day, eating some bear claws, standing around a bunch, saying hi to Daniel Radcliffe, and voila! Next thing you know, there's a teaser trailer.
Right. Like you know anything about being in a movie or the movie business, Dave.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a really nice compliment.
Now, fans of the New York Times crossword puzzle got a very nice surprise yesterday.
That's right. Yesterday's puzzle, written by Ella Dershowitz, included the clue for number 27 down as a 7-letter word for parodist Yankovic. Ethan, you want to take a shot at this one?
Okay. 7 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yankovic. Ah! I got it. Frankie, Frankie Yankovic.
Yeah, I'm not a crossword guy, but somehow I do not think that that's what they were going for.
Well, I'm going to write it in whether it fits or not, Dave.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. This week's episode is brought to you in part by vegan burrito restaurant Burrito in Troy, New York, home of the 2-pound double wrapped in quesadilla burrito and Wizard Burger in Albany, New York. Come on down to Burrito and Burrito your burrito, or hop on over to Wizard Burger for mouth-watering loaded, dare I say, beefy vegan burgers. From Troy to Albany to Uranus, Burrito and Wizard Burger feed the hungry with out-of-this-world plant-based real food, always vegan style. Visit burritosquare.com and wizardburger.com to order ahead.
Well, burrito's a 7-letter word. That might fit.
Nope, I already wrote it in ink.
We have a brief update on the project put together by friend of the podcast, episode 14-inch guest, Weird Al's touring VIP host, J.W. Halford.
Yes, JW's animated short, Ghost Dogs, which was directed and animated by Joe Kappa and written by Joe and JW, is now streaming for free over at ghostdogs.net.
Be sure to check that out and be sure to follow at Ghost Dog Film on Instagram while you're at it. And we do want to remind you that the film contains adult language and situations, so please keep that in mind before you decide to watch it.
Or who you decide to watch it around. But now it's time for one of our world famous podcast recommendations.
Wait. Why would we recommend another podcast when Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast provides 100% of what any listener may need in a podcast?
Well, Dave, while that's completely true, let me give you this example. When we mention our podcast during our podcast, it's not quite as special as some other podcasts mentioning our podcast.
Well, you're right there, so please proceed with one of our world-famous podcast recommendations.
Yes, we recommend you check out episode 521 of Building the Game Podcast to hear talk of our podcast around 85 minutes in. They say some really nice things, and we hope you'll give their podcast a shot.
You can get more information about the podcast over at buildingthegamepodcast.com.
Dave, remember last week when we mentioned the animated short That Sucks by Craig Billmeyer featuring Weird Al Yankovic, Jonah Ray, and allegedly us?
Yeah, I was paying attention.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure your memory was working well.
Thanks, Ethan. That's really thoughtful of you. And it's really funny that you bring that up because That Sucks was awarded the title of Best Animation at the 2022 Sundial Film Festival.
That sucks!
No, that's great news.
Oh, no. Yes, it's great news. I was just excited, so I said the title of the animated short.
Ah, I gotcha. I see what you were doing. Well, anyway, be sure to check out that trailer over on Instagram at the.love.songs.
Now, over the weekend, our intern Frank posted a bunch of ridiculously self-indulgent bonus episodes on our Patreon page. Currently, the bonus episodes go up through 14 centimeter and are available to listen to right now.
Be sure to join the coolest group of cool people ever who get to hear our bonus episodes early over at patreon.com/2000inch.
Our cool Patreon family also got to see our first ever video secret episode where Dave and I, along with special guest Jackie Rossi, tried the Jackson Park espresso coffee for the very first time.
Secret episodes are exclusively for our Patreon family, so the only way to check those out is over at patreon.com/2000inch.
Earlier this week, the cheapskates, the general public, were treated to ridiculously self-indulgent bonus episodes 9 centimeter and 10 centimeter, our reviews of Weird Al's 2 shows in Medford, Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, remember how on ridiculously self-indulgent bonus episode 10 centimeter, we talked about how Jeff McClelland was at the concerts with scraps of wood that he brought for J.W. Halford?
Yeah, what the heck was that all about?
You know what? We never followed up with Jeff about that. Maybe we should just give him a call.
Whoa. Dave, Jeff is a comic book creator. We need to be very careful about when we call him.
Oh, yeah, you're right. His sleep schedule won't be like the rest of us. All right, well, let's see. What time is it anyway?
Well, how am I supposed to know what time it is? Oh, here, intern Frank just slipped me a note. Says it's currently after 9 a.m. PST X noon EST. What?
What the heck does that mean? Hey, intern Frank, maybe try telling us what that means in English.
Oh, okay. He just wrote me another note. He says it's apparently after noon burrito time and after 9 a.m. Hollywood Star Time. Huh.
Now that is something I can understand. Was that so hard, Frank? All right, well, that should be late enough to call Jeff.
Dial him up, Frank.
Who's this disturbing comic book creator, Jeff McClelland?
Hey, it's Dave and Ethan.
Dave and Ethan who?
It's Dave and Ethan of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
That Dave and Ethan. See, I'll have to check my Rolodex.
We were actually reminiscing about our ridiculously self-indulgent bonus episode, 10 Centimeter, and I know that you were there and you had these scraps of wood that you brought for J.W. Halford. What the heck was that all about?
Guys, you're telling me you've never just been in a concert venue with 1x4s cut at specific intervals?
I can't say I have. I mean, I was in your presence when you had that. But please, tell us the story.
So I feel like you probably know as much as I do, and what I mean by that is to say that I'm still not quite 100% sure where I was, why I was doing this, and what the purpose of it was, but I will do my best to recall. So we all know our good friend J.W. Halford, who is the host of Jeopardy and does other various things for the Weird Al Yankovic tour. I was speaking to him before the show, and he sent me a message just saying, I need some wood. Could you bring it to me? And of course, my initial thought was, what does that mean?
Is this a wrong text message? You may be wondering.
And I got very, very little explanation. So, of course, I thought, well, maybe this is a joke, and what is it going to be like if I show up to this venue with blocks of wood, and I'm going to show up and I'm going to hand these over, and it's actually no one needs them. After sending messages and saying, is this real? Is this, should I actually do this, or is this just some kind of esoteric joke that I don't understand fully? I went ahead and I put that in motion. So this was in Medford, Massachusetts, of course. I am not from there. I was staying in an Airbnb at the time. So, of course, what do? I go to my phone and I look up where's the nearest hardware store. So I find it. Someone comes up and says, "Oh, saw's broken."
Great.
This throws, no pun intended, a wrench into the plans. So what do I do? Should I karate chop some wood? Should I try to buy a saw? And make this myself. By this time there's a lot of traffic. I feel like I don't know if I'm going to make it, to when they start letting people in to the venue. But what can I do? I've got to go find another hardware store. So I put it in the phone, drive to another location. Takes some time to get there, and I'm finally able to procure these blocks of wood. Again, this is just a simple 1x4, have to get it cut, 16-inch segments. I think I needed 4 of them. So I drive to the historic, I'm assuming, Chevalier Theater, and I park, and then the next question is, are they going to let me into this location just carrying blocks of wood? And with no context to it either. I don't have a hard hat on or a reflective vest or anything like that. So I don't necessarily look like I belong there with these potentially dangerous objects. So I just decide I'm going to take a chance. Maybe they'll let me in. And what do you know? They do. 20 minutes before the show started, J.W. Halford, he made his way out to the audience, and the exchange took place.
And that's where we came in. We were right there when you handed over the goods.
Yeah. So coincidentally, I believe that both you and Dave, your wife Jackie, you were both just one row behind me. And it must have been a very strange sight, because
here we are still talking about it.
Yes. Well, it's something that I'll never forget. And I guess, maybe that's the true gift that was given to me. I have this very strange story that I'll still wonder about 50 years from now. Why did I have to do that? So, obviously, was happy to do it. Glad that apparently I'm the go-to guy for lumber needs at a concert venue. I'll fulfill those requirements if that is what is asked of me. I'm still not 100% sure if those blocks of wood were actually used, or, and this might make it funnier, if he immediately took those, just like chucked them into a dumpster right afterwards. Like, yep, like check mark. We got someone to go on a fool's errand.
Yeah, he won a bet. Someone gave him $20.
Right. Yeah. I want to see if I can send someone over the greater Boston area to look for a very strangely specific thing. The impression that I get is that our friend Hawkeye built some shelves, or they were in the process of building some shelves on one or both of the tour buses, and JW thought that this would be a good accessory. So this would be something that would help him to create some kind of shelving area in his space on the bus. So whether that is true or not, I'm honestly not 100% certain. But that's the best guess that I've got.
Well, Jeff, thanks so much for your dedication and getting that wood to J.W. Halford and enhancing the entire tour experience, I'm sure, for everybody on the tour buses. So now we have you on the phone. What else you got going on, Jeff? Anything exciting going on?
Oh, just some of the normal things. Just sitting back here getting ready for the announcement of, drumroll, The Illustrated Al, a new graphic novel from Z2 Comics that's going to be pretty exciting. And I'm sure when you called me up today and woke me up from my much needed sleep, that you had no idea that I was going to talk about this today. But here we are, and we might as well forge ahead.
Yeah, so I know nothing about this Z2 Comics original graphic novel, The Illustrated Al, The Songs of Weird Al Yankovic. What can you tell us about that, Jeff?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Ethan. Thank you for that wonderful segue. Here's the basic information that I can give to you. So Z2 Comics is a comic book publisher, obviously. One of the things that probably they're known for better than anything else is publishing a series of graphic novels about and with a number of music artists. So I know in the past they've done graphic novels on Elvis Presley, for example, Gorillaz.
Oh, cool.
Freddie Mercury. They did a great one with Joan Jett just a little while ago, and that's kind of their signature publication. So it's been a long time coming for them to publish something about the subject that's near and dear to all of our hearts, Weird Al Yankovic. So that is something that I am fortunate enough to be involved with to a certain degree.
How awesome!
Yeah. So that is a very exciting thing that's going to be coming out, I believe, this winter season. Let's call it Q4 2022.
Okay. Well, okay. So The Illustrated Al, The Songs of Weird Al Yankovic. How are you involved in this, Jeff?
Sure. So I was lucky enough to be contacted by Josh Bernstein, who works at Z2 and is one of the driving forces behind this book. Somehow, through some kind of voodoo magic, perhaps, I got on a list somewhere, and it's not the list that keeps me from flying to different locations, but it's a list of different comic illustrators and creators that Al knows of, I suppose. And I had done some work for him before on some various tour items that you might be familiar with, and I'm sure that was at least a part of it. I know that our friend J.W. Halford played a big part in that as well, so I appreciate him, and certainly want to thank him in on air, which I feel like is very official. So I was contacted by Josh. He said that there was a list of a number of creators. Here are he gave me the rundown of what the book was going to be about. So if I may,
Yes,
I will
please,
say
please,
that
please.
the Illustrated Al is going to be a collection of song interpretations, let's say. So it's a number of songs that Al has handpicked. I believe that they are all original songs, so no parodies in this collection. So they are chosen by Al. These are all songs that have not had like music videos made for them.
Hmm.
And I think the general idea is that if these different creators who are involved in the process, would, if we want to think about it as creating a music video of our own for these otherwise videoless songs, what would they look like? So we are interpreting them graphically. Again, it's my impression. I don't know how everyone is approaching this, but it's my impression that we're being given a lot of leeway, a lot of creativity to interpret these things how we see fit, within the standards of good taste, of course. But there are, yeah. So we're all taking songs. We're all going to interpret these graphically, in short stories in one way or another, and that's very exciting.
So, Jeff, I don't know if you can answer this or not, but will you be just using the lyrics from the song and only the lyrics, or are you able to, expand it out and put conversations and dialogue and stuff like that?
Well, that's a question that I had actually, and I appreciate you asking that. And the answer that I got back was basically, that's up to you. And I will say that in my case, I am using the lyrics, because how would I not? But that might not be the case for every single contribution.
Well, I guess the obvious question I'm going to have to ask you, Jeff, and I hope you can answer it, is which song did you get assigned?
So I think this is okay for me to answer. Like I said, I was given a list of songs. I believe they gave me 10 songs to choose from, and they basically said, "Do any of these interest you?" And if not, they would just assign one. But on my list was the song "Good Old Days," which is probably my favorite song of Al's.
Wow.
Certainly, it's on the short list, I guess. So I asked basically for that one. So I want to say, just straight out, and I should have said this before, but I'm going to be working on this story with a friend and frequent collaborator, Jeff McClelland. Jeff and I worked on, we've worked on a number of things, but for fans of Al, we worked on the Strings Attached tour poster for the Pittsburgh stop in 2019. That's the what I've heard referred to as Art 2D2 or Star Warhol.
I just call it R2D2, but yeah, it's the Andy Warhol R2D2 Campbell Soup drawing.
Right. Yeah, so that was the poster for that tour stop. So Jeff and I worked on that, and Jeff and I are going to be, we're both named Jeff, I guess. So Jeff and I are going to be working on this story as well as collaborators. So I definitely want to acknowledge him, and the significant contributions that he's going to make for this. So this is a song that I love and I feel is sufficiently twisted, and certainly probably twisted me at a young age. So I feel like turnabout is fair play. So I'm going to see what I can do with this particular one. So I know that it's a possibility that we can use the lyrics, but we also don't have to. We're still in the very early stages of just putting this together. But my intention, anyway, with this is to use those lyrics and to maybe expand on the story behind them, which deals with a psychopath, right? So we'll see how graphically that is going to be kind of expounded on. So I'm excited to move forward with that for sure.
So obviously they got a great catch in Jeff McClelland and Jeff McComsey, but I understand there's some other artists involved. Do you know any of these other artists that might be showing up in this book?
Well, I have been privy to a few names, and I'm really just in awe, I suppose, of some of the company who's going to be involved with it. So Mike and Laura Allred who are known for Ecstatics, who are known for Madman. A number of other projects are going to be involved in the book. I know Hilary Barta, who I've worked with once or twice before as well, is going to be in the book too. Bill Plimpton, who has done the artwork for a few of Al's videos, is going to be involved in that.
That's what TMZ and Don't Download This Song.
Yeah, absolutely. And a number of others. I know, and again, I don't feel like I'm giving away any proprietary information, but the foreword for this book is going to be by Mr. Emo Phillips.
Very cool.
How cool.
Yeah, a lot of really kind of luminaries, and a lot of people who, rightfully so, have been involved with Mad Magazine in the past as well. So you're going to see a number of creators. If you don't know their names, then you'll probably recognize some of their artwork as that kind of comes down the pipeline. So some really exciting stuff, and certainly no one's going to be looking at this list and be like, Jeff McClelland's involved with this. I got to pick up this book. But the other names, they pick up the slack for sure. There are some names that I'm sure that those fellow fans of Al are going to be familiar with, like Wes Hargis, and he's the illustrator on Al's children's books.
Oh yeah,
Teacher and Me. Jesse Phillips is going to be doing a print set. There's going to be a card set by Danny Hellman. Just a lot of really impressive contributors to this particular book.
Yeah, I remember Jesse's awesome. He also had at least a poster in the Strings Attached Tour VIP poster set.
Sure.
I'm just so excited about this. So, there's also going to be like other editions. Have you been privy to how these different editions work for this company, Z2?
So I will say that just in general, I don't know all of the details about this particular publication, but in the past, what Z2 has done is that they will have a few different editions. So let's call like the baseline model, like a bookstore edition, where it's probably like a soft cover, probably more moderately priced, and more affordable. And then usually what they'll have is two other versions. So a deluxe version and then like a super deluxe version, which is pricey and limited. Well, I know that in the deluxe model, the super deluxe model, whatever the highest tier in this is, has a vinyl slip mat involved. There are some coasters. There's a mini accordion. There's some trading cards, maybe one or two other things.
That's so cool.
Some things that some of the really hardcore fans are going to be really excited about, and I believe that version is going to be limited. I want to say to 500 copies.
Oh, geez.
So
gotta get on quick.
Not super limited, but I feel like it's something that if you want it, you probably should check it out. Pretty quickly. So I want to say that if anyone wants to pre-order this, it's available at z2comics.com. The 2 is the number, so z2comics.com/Weird Al. So that should be easy enough to remember. And I hope that, oh goodness, I want to do like a book signing tour for this or something. I don't know.
Oh. Yeah, will you sign any of my books, Jeff?
Well, I mean, there's a certain fee involved in that. I have an appearance. I have to keep up a certain lifestyle. Absolutely, I'll be willing to sign this any and everywhere. And this is just, this is not something that I am privy to, but I would love for there to be. I don't have any knowledge of this, so I'm just speculating. I would love for there to be maybe a special edition just for tour dates or something like that. I'm throwing that out into the universe, hoping that it comes back with something like that. So you could never have too many different variations, I suppose, and that would be something very cool to have as well. Yeah,
of course.
But hey, if again, if Al wants to go on a book signing tour with me, I guess I'll show up for that too. Let's be clear, he does not want to do that with me, but I would be, I would be willing to sign these any and everywhere. We'll see. Like I said, this comes out, I believe, in, let's say, fall or winter of this year, and more details to come.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for answering our call this early in the day. I do apologize for waking you up. Thanks for telling us about the wood. And, I don't know if we even really covered this. Dave and I are well aware of this. I don't know if our listeners realize that you are a comic book creator. You're behind the comic The Tick. You're a very well accomplished creator here, and we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy sleep schedule to talk to us.
Well, I mean, you didn't go through the proper channels. You should have contacted my manager, but I'll forgive it this time. But only this time. Lose my number, guys.
Well, a huge thank you to Jeff McClelland for telling us all about his wood for JW, and I suppose also telling us all about the Illustrated Al, the songs of Weird Al Yankovic.
Yes, you can pre-order it right now over at z2comics.com/Weird Al, and you can follow Jeff's adventures over on Instagram, instagram.com/Jeffrey.McClelland.
This episode is brought to you in part by Discover Darwin, promoting tourism in Darwin, Minnesota. Not only is historic Darwin, Minnesota beautiful, it's also livable.
Did you know, like many parts of the United States of America, Darwin, Minnesota is filled with free oxygen to breathe?
That's right, you do not have to pay any breathing tax while in Darwin, Minnesota. Guaranteed! Or your money will be spent on breathing.
And when you're outside during the day, get this, the sun shines.
And if it is too bright, you can simply close your eyes.
How convenient!
There is also gravity in Darwin, Minnesota, so you do not need to worry about accidentally floating off into outer space.
Huh, that'd be really out there if you did though, huh, Dave?
No, Ethan, please do not joke about something as serious as lack of gravity. It is a very important subject with a lot of gravity, and that pun was not intended.
So visit Darwin, Minnesota on your next expedition. Discover Darwin more than just the twine ball. And after you visit Darwin, Minnesota, be sure to visit discoverdarwin.biz.
Ooh, that sound means that we have a message on the 347 Spatula Hotline, the official hotline of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Oh, I bet it's UH Jeff calling us to tell us all about that brand new Weird Al pinball machine he played last week.
Oh, I hope so. Quick, Frank, play the message.
Hey, Dave and Ethan. It's Jake Larson. Just calling to leave my review of the May 20th Detroit unfortunate return of the Vanity Tour show. My first show of the tour. It was postponed. So there's my review. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks for the call, Jake. Sounds like that was a great way for you to start the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity Tour.
Jake, your review made me feel like I was there right with you.
Okay, surely this call is from UH Jeff talking about the pinball. All right, let's hear it, Frank.
Hey, Dave and Ethan. It's your pal, Dana B. It's Wednesday, May 18th, and I just wanted to remind you that in 2 days, Poodle Hat is turning 19 years old. May 20th is the anniversary of my favorite album, Poodle Hat. That is the album that defined my adolescence. And it was also the tour that came with the release of Poodle Hat. That was the first time I saw Al in concert. I'm enjoying all of your centimeter reviews, and I'm looking forward to seeing you both at the Philly show on October 28th. But I wish it didn't have to wait until October. Anywho, stay weird, both of you. Bye.
Wow, I cannot believe that Poodle Hat is 19 years old already.
Whoa! Man, it seems like only last year it was 18 years old. How time flies, Dave.
Well, thank you so much for that phone call, Dana. We cannot wait to see you in October. Yeah, that sounds like a long time from now.
This is a special alert to the Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast broadcast alert system.
This message is to let you know that the show's hamsters are sponsored by Jack Bateman.
If you hear any rustling or little chewing noises in the background of the podcast, that is simply the hamsters that Jack Bateman sponsored.
We also find it important to mention that Dave's hamster is named Ethan, Ethan's hamster is also named Ethan, and Frank's hamster is named Little Frank.
We are sad to report that Little Frank is no longer with us.
Yes, little Frank left to be a hamster on a different podcast after having to be Frank's hamster.
But despite that drama, both Ethans are doing well.
They seem to be learning new tricks, including Dave and Ethan's official patent-pending hand signals.
That is all for this week's Hamster Report via the Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast broadcast alert system.
Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast is brought to you absolutely free thanks to our incredible sponsors, Burrito, Discover Darwin, Jackson Scoggins, and Jack Bateman.
Our podcast is also supported by everyone in our Patreon family, with special thanks to our amazing close personal friend level Patreon supporters, Gus and Alicia, Jake, Jeff, Kenneth, Scott, Zeb, Adriana, Allison, Blair, Frank from the Bank, Jared, Javier, Nancy, NES Josh 64, and also thanks to Summer and everyone else in our pretty stinking majestic Patreon family.
If you enjoy our family-friendly, wild and wacky, and not necessarily weekly Weird Al podcast, please consider supporting us over at patreon.com/2000inch. There are pretty stinking majestic benefits like getting your name on the podcast, your very own private RSS feed, and access to all of our secret episodes. And now would be a really good time to join if you have not already, because you will be the first to hear our unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity Tour concert review bonus episodes.
And don't forget to check out our official merchandise over at shop.2000inch.com. The unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity Tour is underway, so make sure you get your orders in today for your We Hate Intern Frank shirts, so you can share just exactly how you feel about our lousy, farting, stinking intern Frank with everyone on the tour.
And we love hearing from our listeners and other Weird Al fans, so join our Facebook community and post about Weird Al by visiting group.2000inch.com, and be sure to join our brand new Discord. Plus, we absolutely love it when we receive voicemail via our official patent-pending 27-hour-a-day podcast hotline. That number is 347-SPATULA. Give it a call. You might even hear your message in a future episode.
For everything about our podcast, including incredible past episodes and guests, be sure to visit WeirdAlPodcast.com or 2000inch.com. And while you're there, click on Ridiculously Self-Indulgent bonus episodes to follow along with our adventures on tour, or click on Black and White and Weird All Over bonus episodes for our special bonus episode book series where author John Bermuda Schwartz walks us through his book page by page and picture by picture.
Keep up on new episodes, podcast news, and events by following at 2000inch on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thank you for subscribing and leaving reviews on your favorite podcast app. Please make sure you are subscribed, because it not only helps the podcast, your support helps spread awareness about the Red Rum the Goody and their special mission.
Thank you once again to Jeff McClelland, Jeff McCumsey, Jake Larson, Dana B., Jeff Nucera, Aaron Henry, and Building the Game podcast. Thank you to the Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West for our incredible podcast theme song, and thank you to Weird Al Yankovic, as this podcast probably would not exist without him. And a big thanks to all of you, our listeners, subscribers, Patreon supporters, and sponsors, and everyone else who makes our podcast possible.
Thank you, as always, for choosing Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, and until the next time, remember to gill and chill. All right, Ethan, I'm very excited. Our next shows are in Pelham, Tennessee this coming weekend at some weird venue called The Caverns.
Yes! In Grundy County, Tennessee, at the base of the Cumberland Plateau, in the timeless Pelham Valley, you'll find a naturally occurring subterranean amphitheater located in a cave 20 miles below the surface of the earth.
Ooh, I better pack some jelly bean and pickle sandwiches. For what it's worth.
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 159-inch.
Illustrating Weird Al with our words for over 3 years.
No one's going to be looking at this list and be like, Jeff McClelland's involved with this. I got to pick up this book.